Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda coming to you today on March 28th, 2020. This is a follow-up video to the last video I made on March 1st. My suggestion is to review that last video before watching this one. This is going to be a follow-up talking about the energies that are in play for the remaining few days of March, moving into April and beyond. These are very potent times. I don't have to tell you that. You don't need the astrology to tell you that. But many of you have been asking for a follow-up, so I'm happy to share this information with you. I am considering tomorrow to do a Facebook Live so that those of you that have direct questions can ask me and I can be available to answer them live, and if there is a demand for it. And also, I'm going to start a new Facebook group, so for those of you who want to join the group, we can interact on a more personal level regarding, your questions and your concerns, and I can be more available to help guide you through these times. So let's get started. All right, as of today, in the next few days, we have many planets moving into different positions in the sky. Right now, we still have Saturn, Mars, and Pluto conjunct in the sign of Capricorn. In the next couple of days, Jupiter is going to move into Capricorn to join this conjunction. Jupiter is moving into its sign of debilitation. We have Ketu still in Mula Nakshatra, the nakshatra of karmic repercussions, right? We have the North Node Rahu in Ardhara Nakshatra, which is the nakshatra of upheaval and crises. In a lot of cases, it does indicate war, but this is like just general indications. We have Mercury, which is going to move into its sign of debilitation in the first week of April. It's going to move into Pisces. We have Venus moving into Taurus, which is its own sign. And a few days ago, on the 23rd, 24th of March, we had a new moon. So we had a moon and sun conjunct in the sign of Pisces. So what does this all mean? And how does this look moving forward? Well, let's start with the new moon. The new moon usually sets the tone for the remaining 30 days. So from new moon to new moon. This time it is the start of the Vedic New Year in the sign of Pisces, which is a very divine sign. Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac, which indicates endings. It indicates a release from the material and an integration and a movement towards the spiritual. So it also indicates confusion, illusion, delusion, isolation, separation usually from the material, as well as an ability to reconnect with the divine. It is a very spiritual sign. It's the higher sign that Jupiter rules, and Jupiter is the guide or the guru, right? Jupiter is a sattvic or a benefic planet which wants us to realize our true source, which is and reconnect with our true source, which is the divine, right? So this month, needless to say, already we've seen it in action, separation from the material, a lot of people moving inward to reconnect with the divine, all right? So I really encourage, instead of feeling isolated and separated, to use this time to go inward and reconnect with that which is true, all right? Jupiter itself, which is the ruler of Pisces, is sitting in Sagittarius right now, which is a very strong placement for it. However, it is sitting in between many malefics, right? So it's getting a lot of malefic energy. It's constricted, so it's hard for it to expand, although it will expand as it is the great benefic, but it's not as supported as it usually would be when it's by itself in Sagittarius, although it still is a strong point for Jupiter. In the next day, is going to move into the sign of Capricorn, which is its debilitation point. So it's going to be very hard for the sign of justice, law, of higher knowledge, higher truths, to be able to be potent enough to activate, right? So in my predictions, it might be the sign, it might be the time where laws are coming in that may not necessarily be for the greater good. It's going to conjunct Saturn and Mars and Pluto in Capricorn, right? And it's happening in Uttara Ashad, which means the latter victory. It's showing victoriousness. So what about this nakshatra, Uttara Ashada? Well, it's ruled by the sun in the sign of Saturn. Now, the sun and Saturn traditionally are known to not have the easiest relationship, right? They're actually diametrically opposed in a way. The sun shows kingship, authority, right? Leadership, arrogance, right? Think about the king. Saturn is the significator of democracy, the masses, the workers, the working class, right? It also indicates oil, things that are underground. It also indicates restrictions. It also indicates old established order. With Pluto being part of this mix, there's a lot of disruption, a lot of transformation happening in that area of life, okay? What's really interesting is that these conjunctions, especially the conjunction that just occurred with Mars and Saturn, alongside with Pluto, right? Especially Mars and Saturn, happen in this nakshatra of Abhijit, which is contained within Uttara Ashad. Now, Abhijit is usually not used, but I'm going to bring it up into the mix here because I think it's of significance, right? Most, in fact, all of the 27 nakshatras, which is the abode of the fixed stars. This is like the moon visits each one of these nakshatras while it goes around and makes its revolution. Each nakshatra has a deity which presides over it and a planetary lordship. Abhijit transcends this. Abhijit indicates unbeatable and supremely victorious. It is the nakshatra that Lord Krishna himself was said to be born under. So it transcends the normal rulerships and deities. It is the directly spiritual and cosmic hidden nakshatra. What this indicates to me, since there's the sun involved in Uttara Ashad and Saturn involved, as well as Pluto and Jupiter, right? What this indicates to me is that some form of victory, of unbeatableness, whether it is the Saturnian indications of establishment or the sun indications of authority, or just the indications of nature and guru and the higher order, Jupiter. Some element is going to be victorious here, all right? Now it's up to us to decide collectively what is it that we surrender to for our victory. Going back in my research, I've looked at most of the outer planets, okay? Traditionally, the north node Rahu, when it's in Ardhara, and the south node Ketu, when it's in Mula, happens every 18 years. This has shown every 18 years, when these nakshatras are in these positions, some sort of cataclysmic event. 18 years prior to now, we had the 9/11 crises, which affected the way in which the world was functioning, right? 18 years prior to that, we had the AIDS epidemic. 18 years prior to that, we had the assassination of JFK, and so on and so forth, Okay, so every time these nakshatras or these two planets or grahas are in these positions, something occurs which forces a change, forces a dismantlement of the way things usually have functioned. I also checked and did some research on the current position of Uranus, which at the moment is sitting in Ashwini Nakshatra. This is the nakshatra of health and longevity. In 1347, the time of the bubonic plague, Uranus was sitting in this nakshatra as well. So it is showing sudden pandemics regarding health historically. Also, Pluto, which is the longest transiting planet and the slowest transiting planet, was sitting in the same nakshatra it's sitting in now, back around the time of the US Revolution. So, of course, I don't need to say this. There's great indications for changes in health, changes in policy, changes in leadership, revolution. It's all possible. How is it we handle this is going to show where our priorities lie. And it's a great time. Actually, it's a great time to be able to put in and implement positive changes. You know, things have to be destroyed, right, in order for the new to be born. With Ketu sitting in Mula Nakshatra, we've talked about this. This is the nakshatra that is astronomically in line with the galactic center. This is where we're getting all our cosmic impulses from the center of our galaxy. And this is exactly where Mula Nakshatra sits. December 26, 2019, we had an eclipse, a very potent eclipse happening in this nakshatra. Now when planets transit that eclipse point, those things are going to be activated. Those karmas that we've all been a part of are going to come up. They're going to sprout up. Mula Nakshatra's presiding deity is Niriti, not just the goddess of destruction, the goddess of obliteration, right? And Ardhara Nakshatra traditionally has shown or indicated some sort of conflict or war, okay? So now Rahu is going to move out of this nakshatra. So Rahu moves into Mrigashira in the third week of May. So we're going to have a shift there. Ketu is going to stay in Mula until September 21st, until the autumn equinox. So again, these karmas are going to continue to come up for us to deal with, right? What we sow, we reap. And we've all been a part of living in a very unsustainable way. And this is the cosmic way for the powers, the divine powers, to show us exactly what happens when we live out of balance, right? Going back to Saturn and the Sun. So the Sun is the arrogance of the king, the arrogance of the leader. And Saturn is the humility, the humbleness of the servant. So what are we? Are we the leaders or are we the servants of the divine? Are we in control or should we bow and humble ourselves to the divine, which is actually what's in control? And this is all coming up for us to review. Mercury is going to move into a sign of debilitation, which is Pisces, in the beginning of April. So Mercury rules Gemini, the sign where the North Node sits and the nakshatra of Ardhara is. So there's going to be more confusion as far as communication. Communication is going to be unclear. The messages we're going to receive will be confusing. So even more time to go in and listen to ourselves, to reconnect with that higher self, the guiding voice, the guiding principle of what we all know is right, okay? Right for the greater good, right for the collective. It's a great time. It's a very it's not a very solid time. It's a time of great change, but we can move towards the greater good while things are being destroyed. All right. Now Venus has been sitting with Uranus and has now moved into its own sign of Taurus. Usually this is a very good indication, right? Because Venus owns the sign of Taurus. Venus indicates what? Luxury, wealth, material abundance. For a while, we're going to feel like our wealth, because it's being aspected by several malefics, our wealth and our priorities of what we value will come under will come up for review for us. What is it we value? What is it what is it of value? Is it money? Is it luxuries? Is it beauty? Is it art? Or is it something greater than that? It's our inner wealth, right, that we will be examining. What is it that feeds us on an inner level? So when do I feel like this crisis time will pass? Well, I feel like once the sun moves out of Pisces and into its exaltation point in Aries, perhaps we will have a bit of respite. Our leaders may take big stances and help us to see more clearly, like a clearer vision of how to move forward. And definitely, probably by the third week of May, by the time Rahu moves out of Ardhara Nakshatra and into the Nakshatra of Mrigashira, that things will start to feel a lot more calm. Okay, because the Mrigashira Nakshatra is indicated, it's symbolized by the deer. So it's a symbol of the heart. I really do feel that this crisis is going to make everybody revisit what is essential to our lives moving forward and for the future. What's the most essential thing? Yeah. Is it money? Is it billions? Is it likes and selfies? Or is it community? Is it divinity? Is it humility? And is it service? I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here. There's so much more that I wish to share with you, as well as more details and dates. But it's just so much. I'm having a very difficult time being able to convey it in a logical way. So I would like to invite you all to join me on my Facebook Live, and maybe I'll even do a YouTube Live, but at least a Facebook Live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. And please join my Facebook group, Visionary Veda, so that we can discuss things in more detail. For now, I hope this has helped, and I hope this has helped give some hope. I do think that things will improve more towards the summer. Things may not improve on an economic level maybe until like coming fall, or even possibly the following year, but we could talk more about that as the time gets closer. And again, if you have any questions or queries, please reach out on the email provided below, or join me tomorrow for my Facebook Live. Okay, well, until next time, I wish you all the best. Please stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and enjoy this precious life. All right, take care now. Namaste. Bye-bye.